thought we'd take a picture of this while I got this set up. What I have right now is a fuselage at level, or as close to level as I can by eye. I'm setting the outboard struts, which I believe they're done. They're as close as I can possibly get them. I'm going to have to fudge them a little bit. And then I have the wings taped down to each other, locked to each other, and got them level. So I'm level from left to right, and I'm level front to aft. Fuselage is level. These here are meters that hook up to the leading edge and trailing edge, and it's nothing but a little level with a crystal balancer inside of it. Or I don't even know what the crystal does. But right now, my upper wing per this meter is dead nut zero. Zero incidence or zero angle of attack. Same on the bottom. I got two of these meters because I really mussed up on my Trainer 60 when I built it, and I had to cut the wings back apart to get the angles right. So you use these to set your angle of attack in reference to the air. Right now I'm dead nuts as close as I could possibly get. I don't see myself getting any closer. So I'm going to fine tune the outer struts, lock them in, and move on. Right here we have outboard struts are basically complete, less drilling up the brass fittings, which there are brass tabs down here in the bottom and up in the top that I'm going to drive some screws through. Those will be glued into the wings, but I'm not going to glue them in until after I got pretty much a basic finish. I think that's probably going to be one of the last things I do, because they'll be in the way of sanding, and when I cover it, they'll be in the way. So I think that'll probably be one of the last things I do. So that's why they're not complete now. I can locate, drill the hole in it, install the screw in the blind nut plate on the back side of these and have them almost complete, less gluing them into the wings. But pretty much right now they're done. I'm having a major problem I lost my brass tubing and rod. I do not have the slightest idea where they went, so I cannot finish what I wanted to do on the center pin of the top wing. So I guess we're just going to bypass that until I can go back to Tim's hobby shop and get me that. So I guess I'm going to start in the tail. Go ahead and get the tail on. Before I go to the tail, I want to try and get a couple of things out of the way here. So I think I'm going to put the tail to the side for a little while longer. I want to go ahead and finish my pin up on my upper cabane wing situation. What they want you to use to plug this hole, because you have the hole that's going completely through this, all the way out to the tail. It's on the thrust line. They want you to use this tiny little eyelet, stuff it in this little hole here. Then you're going to have a little pin that's going to knock your center pin out. I don't like that. I think that's too small. So what I'm going to do is, my center pin is made out of 1/8 inch brass tubing. So what I'm going to do, the ends of that are plugged with solder. The forward end, basically has got the shape of a bullet. I'm going to take another 1/8 inch tube. I'm going to put it in this front till I touch the front of my first pin, or touch the pin inside. That'll lock that pin in there. This pin is in the hold screw. There's going to be a screw that's going to go through the top of the wing to actually hold it from, or stop it from falling out the back side. And the front will have an open tube to knock it out from. So basically you got a full straight tube all the way across. I'm going to cut this off, and then what that does gives me the option of using a solid brass rod to slide inside of that tube and knock it out. Knock it all the way back out. So instead of using this tiny little eyelet, I'm just going to use the same tube and everything and just continue with it all the way through. Be a lot cleaner, a lot easier to do, because in order to line this up and make sure it's lined up all the way through, all I have to do is knock out this center pin, slide this all the way through, and I have a direct shot. There's no misalignment at all. If you can kind of comprehend what I mean. I'm going to go with that now, and then that'll finish up my cabane situation. The upper wing portion will be done. All I have to do is do outboard struts. Have to pin them down and cut ailerons out, and I'm like really close. This plane is really close to being done in the model sense. I still got to get that tail on, but the tail will be easy. So anyway, as a whole, oh, you couldn't see the back pin. You can see the back pin now. There's a 1/8 inch wooden dowel sticking through the back. I'm going to put a screw in there, and that'll stop that center pin from sliding out and letting the wing come off. A lot depends on that pin, so you don't want it to be coming out of that hole. This thing's going to have a lot of vibration on it. This little 2-stroke motor's got a lot of vibration to it. But I'm going to try and design some soft mounts for it, for the engine, to absorb some of it. Now I got the horizontal stabilizers being glued on. Should be almost cured. Just about ready to put the vertical on. But I think I'm going to go ahead and put the upper plastic canopy on first, so I can kind of do some markings on where I have to cut things out. Oop, don't get carried away here. Start getting carried away, but anyway, I'm going to start cutting out the area around the stabilizer. Make sure that I can get a nice clean fit. My outboard struts are complete. Less drilling the holes, anchoring them in, and doing the blind nuts, but those are all shaped down nice and pretty and rounded out, aerodynamic and all that kind of good stuff. So all I got to do is just nitrate them and do their final anchoring. So that's basically done. So all I really have to do left to do is the aileron cutouts and start doing some hookups. Here is the back side of the upper wing. This is what I was doing this morning. The upper wing center pin is all complete. That back hole you see right there is where you slide the pin in. You slide the pin in from the back. The front hole on the front side of the wing, its only purpose is to slide a pin in there to knock the center pin back out. So that's why it's of the same diameter. So in order to stop the pin from falling out the back here while you're flying, I've glued, instead of using a blind nut, which you would just use a blind nut on the bottom side to screw through, I used a nye rod, and the nye rod's a perfect size for the screw. So if for any reason that screw is going to be coming out, I'm going to be seeing it coming out the top side. I won't just lose a blind nut and lose my screw. To me, it makes it very fail-safe. So I believe all the wings are ready to come back off. And I'm going to start doing the upper canopy. Probably get that vertical. The tail probably just start slapping together. Tails are fairly easy since it's all solid balsa. And we're going to start winding down. Unfortunately, I think vacation might be over almost. Is the canopy pretty much set on there. I had to do the carving around the horizontal stabilizer. Had to do some filling around the firewall. Let it cure overnight, and it's ready to come off now. See, this is why you want to get all of your belly stuff like your wing saddle, your belly blocks, and all that on your bottom wing completed before you get this upper piece on. Once you put this on and this becomes permanent, you can no longer just flip your airplane upside down and work on it, you know what I mean? I mean, you'd be laying it right on top of its canopy. So this is one of the last things you want to do. You can see the holes up front for the cabanes. I still got to fit the cabanes in there. Maybe I'll do that now before I take it back apart. And the vertical is not on yet either. As soon as you put the vertical on, same thing. You try and put it on its back, the vertical gets in your way. So the vertical and the canopy, anything on the top side is some of the last stuff that you want to do. Make sure you got everything on the bottom side done. And like I say, I got the landing gear on right now just to protect the belly from unnecessary damage. So we'll go ahead and fit the front cabane holes and take this back off, and we're pretty much ready to put the vertical on now. Alright, the holes in the upper canopy are completed. The cabanes are in. That's pretty much all I had to do to get the cabanes on there. That was pretty simple. And then the rest, you look at, you can get a close-up shot of this one here. It was a lot of auging out done. I mean, there's a big old gaping hole right there. But after you install the canopy and the cabanes and got the cabanes where they're going to stay in there, you're going to glue them in. They're going to become permanent part of the fuselage. Then you're just going to body fill all that in right there and make it look like the cabanes go right into the fuselage. So you're going to do a disappearing act right there. So upper canopy is pretty much done for right now. I'll do a little fine tuning on the front around the firewall there. And I think I'll move on to the vertical.